game. So, Ryan, should the Sixers fan be more encouraged by Embiid's dominance or worried about his back holding up?
Listen, man, the 76er fans have to be absolutely terrified. I mean, hey, guys, this is a bad nightmare right here. They haven't forgot that Joel Embiid sat out his first 2 years as a pro and could not play basketball. The only question in Joel Embiid's game, and you can ask my guy, Brendan Haywood, because I've been going at it for a while with him, that Joel Embiid, when healthy, is the best big man in basketball. Forgive me, Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, whoever you want to throw in this big man debate. When he is healthy, he is absolutely the best. The only questions have been injuries. Why is this so important? Not only is Embiid right now, and Chris, Greg, anybody want to question that he's second in MVP voting in my mind behind LeBron James, but Philadelphia is finally playing the best basketball that they have ever played. We see order, we see consistency, we see a form of a system and discipline under Doc Rivers. I played for Doc. And one of the biggest things that Doc has done outside of bringing in Curry and Danny Green and those veterans and shooters, something that they missed from having JJ Redick on the squad, was that they now have a system that they run. Doc is excellent at taking someone, I wouldn't say chaos, I don't want to disrespect Brett Brown like that, but he comes in with a matter of respect, and he's an X's and O's specialist. He's detailed, and he's teaching Joel and Ben and those guys how to play the game of basketball. So there's a realistic shot that Philadelphia could come out of the East, guys, and if his back isn't to par, they don't have a shot.
Ryan, I think Nikola Jokic would like a word with you about who the best big man in the league is. But to answer the question, look, I get the injury history, and you're always going to have that concern with Joel Embiid. It's just as simple as that. He's never played more than 64 games in a season. However, I'm going to say the Philly fans should be more encouraged by the way he is playing. He has, for all his injury problems, he's only missed 3 out of 26 playoff games in the last 3 years. So typically, he's there for the most part come postseason. And obviously, the Sixers have to just do whatever they have to do, even if it's resting him several games, to make sure he's ready for the postseason. That said, and you're right, Ryan, he's playing great basketball. Doc Rivers has him playing closer to the basket really than he ever is. Now, I still would like to see him posting up even more. He's still playing a lot on the perimeter, and I wonder if he played down low closer to the bucket even more, if that might help him injury-wise. Because he's out there running around like a perimeter player. He's playing like a small forward a lot of the times, and that can wear on your joints and things, your back, for a guy that size. And if he posts up even more than he already is, who in, let's say, Brooklyn, if they play Brooklyn in the postseason, what are they gonna do with Joel Embiid? They're trying to get an Andre Drummond. They got a DeAndre Jordan to try to throw at him. He'll get them in foul trouble. He'll have his way with them, take them outside if he needs to. Jeff Green, if you want to go small against Joel Embiid, you're in trouble. So I would work on having him even closer to the basket more than he is right now, and just pound teams down there and get ready to do that against Brooklyn in the playoffs if I'm Philly.
If I'm the Sixers fans, it's both. I'm both encouraged by his dominance, but I'm also concerned about his health. And here's the reason why. When you look at the 76ers record without Joel Embiid, they're 1-5. So yes, Ryan, Chris, they are a different team with him on the court as well as with him off the court. And when you look at injuries, what I was so impressed by, and the Sixers fans should be impressed by last night, was he played not only through the injury, but he played at an elite level. He dominated. And Brett Favre once told me, he said, you know, Greg, what makes the difference between great players and elite players? Elite players find a way, even when having nagging injuries or ailing things going on in their physical body, they still have a knack to play at the elite level. Their 80% is better than a lot of guys' 100%. And that's what we saw out of Joel Embiid last night, Joy.
Sixers fans should be terrified. I agree with Ryan. They're playing the best version of basketball that we've seen these Sixers play. We know what Joel Embiid is capable of when he's playing at a high level, when he's on the court. He's having an MVP season. I mean, to me, LeBron is the MVP right now, but Joel Embiid is right there. And the first thing that you start to think about is those years that he missed. Now, you start talking about Joel Embiid's back, and you know, your hands are getting sweaty. This is a serious situation. They've got to manage this throughout the season. They have a legitimate shot this year to come out of the East. They can beat Brooklyn if they're all healthy. And we have to keep in mind as well, this is a very unique season. We're still dealing with a pandemic. You might have guys out here and there. It's very tricky. So this is very concerning if I'm a Sixers fan, not because he may miss a few games, but because of his injury history and the fact that this is really a season that if everyone's healthy, they can win. So if I'm a Sixers fan, I am definitely nervous. We know what he can do when he's healthy. We don't want him to be out and miss significant time or not be healthy for the playoffs.
Well, let's move on to Steph. He had last night 25, including a 3-point dagger in overtime to beat the Miami Heat. So, Ryan, I'll start with you. How far can Steph carry the Warriors by himself?
Steph Curry by himself can get the Warriors out of the first round in the playoffs. Why do I say that? Where would I make that number at? For one, his numbers are comparable to his MVP year, unanimous MVP. But I say out of the first round, if he can match up with anybody else other than the Lakers, I believe there's a shot. As much as I love Utah, Rudy Gobert in the playoffs historically, guys, remember when I said that historically has struggled with mid-pick and roll. Steph Curry is a dead-eye shooter. If Gobert's not up on the screen, Steph Curry would have absolutely a field day, as well as Utah's plan. But the one thing about Steph, he's given us a performance that we've always questioned. Okay, who is Steph Curry gonna be, Chris, without KD and without Clay and all these guys? And Chris, I'm gonna throw this to you. We've seen it from Damian Lillard year after year after year. Without having the perfect team around him, we've seen his dominance. So now Steph Curry is giving us something that we hadn't seen, where we don't have to point to Clay or KD or Iguodala and the team around him as far as how great they are, and the supporting cast was able to grow with him. We can credit Steph Curry for this playoff run 100% on his shoulders. And you may say he may not need this for his legacy, but I believe this is a huge year for Steph Curry's legacy. And I love what he's doing. Steph Curry out there getting busy, dog.
Look, Ryan, I told you Jokic was looking for you earlier. Now the LA Clippers are looking for you. You're saying only the Lakers can definitely beat Golden State in the first round, man? Stop it. Look, I'm with you. I do think that Golden State, the furthest they could go would be the second round of the playoffs. But to do that, they really need to get probably that 5th seed. And that's possible too. Right now they're in the 7th seed. They're 2.5 back from Portland, which is 4th. So they should be aiming at home court advantage. Certainly they can get to where Phoenix is at, and Denver's struggling more than we expected. So I'd say if they could get the 4th seed, that would be the highest they could go. And if they're 4th or 5th, then you got to give them a shot at winning that first round in the playoffs. But if they, they're going down in the second round. There's no doubt about it, especially if they meet one of the LA teams. So Steph is playing tremendously. There's a lot of talk about MVP for him. He's got to get them at least to the 4th seed, at least. And even that might not be enough, Greg, for him to be the MVP.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough. And I don't think he's got enough to get him even there. We're talking about carrying the team where? Like into the playoffs? To the 8th seed, to the 7th seed, hopefully the 6th. You talk about it's a stretch to get to the 5 and 4, but if he ends up at that 6, 7, or 8, you're playing either Utah right now, the Lakers, or the Clippers, and you losing all those in the first round. I'm sorry, Steph, yes, you're balling right now, and he is being lethal. Terrific player. I love what he's doing by himself. But you got to think, when you get to the playoffs, everybody starts to localize and focus in on the guy, and that's Steph. And I just don't know if he can continue this for the duration, including the playoffs. It'll be a stretch. He's a great player. I'm not knocking that, Joy, but I don't see him getting past the first round.
Oh, I totally agree. I think this is an adorable story. I think it's great, to Ryan's point, for Steph's legacy. And what he's doing is incredible. But let's be serious. We're just talking about the LA teams. Excuse me, Utah Jazz, we would like to enter the conversation. The Phoenix Suns, I think the Nuggets might get it together. They're not winning a first-round series in the playoffs. It's not going to happen. I love what Steph is doing. It's very encouraging. It's a great regular season story. He's having MVP level numbers, certainly comparable to his unanimous MVP season, as Ryan said, but there's no way he can carry them through a first-round series in the playoffs. I don't see it, and I don't think that's a knock on the Warriors. I didn't think that this was a year for the Warriors anyway, so there's nothing but positivity. Develop the young players. It's next year for you guys when Klay comes back.
All right. Well, we're moving on to football, and is Patrick Mahomes the quarterback that's under the most pressure next season, coming off a disappointing Super Bowl? That's next, coming up on First Things First.